How brutal was Buakaw's next level power? The legend is both frightening and incredible. He often gets angry and then smashes his opponents. The power in his punches and kicks are extraordinary, and just one shot could end a fight. You see, the best way to describe Buakaw's striking style is that it is cruel, an apex predator hunting his prey. After all, Buakaw believes that in order to succeed as a fighter, he must be cruel. Now the world knows Buakaw as a brutal fighter who channels his anger and destroys his monstrous opponents. But even more importantly, he is a great ambassador for Muay Thai. The people of Thailand love him, and rightfully so. He ushered Muay Thai to its greatest international heights when it was on the verge of dying. For many, he is a real-life superhero, a true rags to riches story. Born to a farming family, Buakaw was the underdog who became the biggest superstar of Muay Thai. By destroying so many world champions, he introduced masses of people to the combat sports world. Combining supreme confidence with humility, aided by controlled temper and brutal power, he showed the world something that most didn't know. Many coaches say not to fight with emotions, but Buakaw's passion of fighting is what got so many people around the world into Muay Thai. And yet, despite all of his legendary moments, many of his opponents still believe it'd be a good idea to make him angry. What a terribly sad mistake that is. Let's see how Buakaw knocks out those who dare to make him angry. Here are 17 of his most impressive knockouts. Buakaw vs Katsumori Maita. In the second round, Buakaw marched forward for a clinching right knee. This landed flush, but the opponent was tough and got up to keep fighting. But Buakaw continued pressing forward, backing his opponent into the corner and landing another right knee, ending the fight. Right after the fight, Buakaw charmed another ring girl. Just look at how happy this girl was. Buakaw vs Hiroki Shishido. Buakaw was an absolute beast against Hiroki. Hiroki came out swinging for the fences and backing Buakaw to the ropes. But Buakaw wasn't having it. He went for a sweep and then a full powered high kick. While that didn't land, you can see the panic on his opponent already. As Hiroki charged him one more time, Buakaw landed a perfect check left hook that dropped his opponent immediately. The opponent also landed his own left hook, but Buakaw's left hook was just way stronger and with much better technique. With this one punch knockout, Buakaw then looked over him like an absolute badass. To celebrate, he did a cartwheel. Buakaw vs Joon Kim. Buakaw began the fight with a nut shot. Then when they clinched, Buakaw pushed off into a perfect high kick. He pushed with his right hand to frame, and when the opponent stepped back, his downward high kick landed perfectly, resulting in a knockdown. To end the round, Buakaw landed another high kick and got his opponent backed up against the corner, which allowed him to throw a right hook that downed his opponent again. To his opponent's credit, he kept getting up and fighting. When the next round began, Buakaw put on the pressure and went for hard roundhouses. When he missed, the opponent rushed in with a jab and allowed Buakaw to land a perfect check hook. To finish this fight, as the opponent rushed in for a big right hand, Buakaw pulled back to dodge the punch and clocked the opponent with his own right hand as he fell in. This is a textbook example of how to throw a right hand versus how not to throw a right hand. Buakaw vs Black Mamba. When Buakaw fought Black Mamba, Mamba did well by moving around on the outside and throwing power strikes there. He even landed a flush groin shot to Buakaw's nuts. But Buakaw, being the Iron Man that he is, didn't even flinch. Mamba was doing excellent offensively and getting the better of the exchanges. That was until he decided it would be a good idea to push kick Buakaw, which enabled him to use his signature catch into left hook again. Lesson learned, don't try to push kick a legendary Muay Thai fighter. When Mamba got up, he was no longer the same fighter, so Buakaw walked him down. and eventually landed 2 flush right hands when Mamba tried to knee Buakaw in the clinch. Why in the world would an opponent try to out Muay Thai a legendary Muay Thai fighter? No one knows, but he learned his lesson. Buakaw vs Abdoul Toure. Against Abdoul, Buakaw had just come off of a gym contract dispute. He hadn't been paid for all of his fighting efforts throughout his last decade. Abdoul thought this fight was an exhibition, and he didn't know that nut teeps are legal in Muay Thai, so Buakaw continued to push kick him to the nuts as he complained. After pressing forward the entire fight, as Abdoul rushed in for an elbow, Buakaw landed a beautiful roundhouse knee. This technique is a roundhouse that lands as the knee when the opponent rushes in. After the strike, Buakaw looked back at his opponent and knew that he was not getting up from that nasty strike. In 2014, Abdoul Toure decided to rematch Buakaw for the WBC title. Buakaw once again push-kicked him to the nuts. To rock his opponent, Buakaw pumped out his jab to his opponent's ill-advised head movement. As the opponent moved his head to the right, Buakaw did a super quick switch kick to Abdoul's head. His opponent was clearly rocked, so Buakaw did a spinning kick followed by a bunch of jumping attacks. To land his first knockdown, Buakaw threw a flying knee off of a clinch break. When the knee didn't land, he used it to grab a single collar and tracked his opponent's spin to throw an overhand elbow. The fight was finished by the same technique as Abdoul rushed into the clinch with a combination. These knockouts show that Buakaw is extremely consistent with identifying a weakness and finishing an opponent with them. Buakaw vs Wang Wei Hao. Against Hao, the Chinese champion spinning back kicked Buakaw to the groin. Buakaw told him to kick higher, then when Hao came in for a hook, Buakaw countered the hook with a perfect overhand. The next knockdown, Buakaw pressed forward to land a lunging left hook that levered into a high kick. The high kick landed as the opponent missed the right hand with no guard and no stance. Even worse, Hao leaned into the high kick, and Buakaw even landed a Superman right hand as the opponent fell down. When Hao got up, Buakaw chased him down with a knee. Hao ran away, which allowed Buakaw to land another right high kick. This time, Hao gave up. Buakaw vs Piscitello. Against Piscitello, Buakaw got into a good brawl, but eventually the momentum shifted when they got into the clinch and Buakaw picked up the opponent and chucked him on the ground. When they clinched up again, Buakaw blocked his opponent's attempt to hold his neck with his elbow and then shoved the elbow in for a beautiful knockdown. Then when Mikhail went for a rear push kick, Buakaw caught the kick and went for a left body hook. As his momentum moved forward, he used it to pendulum into trapping the opponent's lead arm and then into another overhand elbow. There was just no getting up from that. Buakaw vs Zaripov Rustem. Against Zaripov Rustem, Buakaw again got into a nice brawl with his opponent. However, as the fight went on, Buakaw was simply the better and more conditioned man. No longer was Zaripov smiling whenever Buakaw landed shots. In round 2, Buakaw pressed forward and framed his lead hand on his opponent to chuck a throwaway uppercut that levered into a huge left hook. To finish the fight, Buakaw pressed his opponent against the corner and landed a huge overhand. When the opponent didn't go down after getting rocked, Buakaw hand-trapped the opponent's arm with an overhand again. After this shot, he went on a punching rampage, followed by an uppercut elbow, and ended the fight with a right hook. Buakaw vs David Calvo. Buakaw's fight with Calvo was one of the most epic knockouts he's had. The opponent again thought it'd be a good idea to go for a push kick. Buakaw grabbed the push kick to lever into a body hook. He continued the combination by throwing a high kick into a left body hook once again. The opponent got up and put up a good fight, which made Buakaw smirk and wave him on.
There, Calvo starting to fire, and Buakaw comes, says, "Bring it!"
As Buakaw backed Calvo into the corner, Calvo went for a very ill-advised jumping knee. Buakaw was never in any threat, and as Calvo landed, he was met with a powerful lunging left hook to the body that sent him flying. Buakaw celebrated explosively with a well-deserved knockout victory. Buakaw vs Gu Hui. When Buakaw started to fight in China, he took on their best fighters and became a superstar. In this fight against Hui, he trapped his opponent's head in the clinch and landed repeated knees until the opponent fell down. The opponent's head was trapped beneath Buakaw's armpit, and while pushing his opponent down and getting an underhook, Buakaw ensured he had the perfect position to throw as many knees as he wanted. Buakaw vs Marouan Touhtouh. Against Touhtouh, Buakaw landed 2 switch kicks in a row as the opponent tried to move forward. Then on the third charge, Buakaw timed the perfect check left hook again. It didn't matter that the opponent had a guard, Buakaw landed above the guard. Then as the opponent touched the ground, Buakaw soccer kicked him in the head. When Touhtouh got up, Buakaw looked annoyed and hunted to finish. With typical Hulk smash style, Buakaw tossed his opponent to the floor with an angry face. Then when he got up, he lunged in for a power left hook. With absolutely no guard, Buakaw jumped in for what's essentially a left hook haymaker. There was simply no getting up from that punch. Buakaw vs Nayanesh Ayman. Against Ayman, Buakaw again lunged in for a jumping left hook. There wasn't a whole lot of technique here, but it doesn't matter. If Buakaw lunges in and touches the opponent with a left hook, they go down. The opponent also tried to throw his own left hook, but Buakaw landed his lunging left hook while the opponent's hook completely missed the mark. This is the first time we've seen a shifting rear left hook punch. Buakaw vs Timor Daal. After backing up Timor against the corner, Buakaw jumped up for a flying knee while grabbing the back of Timor's head. After landing flush and hurting Timor, he spun his opponent around and finished the fight with a vicious elbow. This was a classic knee into elbow chain that few in the world has ever seen outside of Muay Thai. Buakaw was only 20 years young. We got a peek into how charismatic Buakaw was when he started dancing with a ring girl. But with all of Buakaw's boyish humour and silliness, when it's time to fight, he fights like a monster. Buakaw vs Chris Ngimbi. Against Ngimbi, Buakaw threw a right hook to the body. Then he pushed Ngimbi out into the long range and used his right hand to create a blind spot on his opponent's right side. Then he threw a power high kick where the opponent couldn't see and landed a picture perfect high kick as the opponent thought it was a middle kick. To end the fight, Buakaw pushed his opponent to the ropes and landed a spree of right cross left hook combinations. Buakaw celebrated like a king, and a king of Muay Thai he is. Buakaw vs Jomhod Kiatadisak. In 2006, after getting the criticism that Buakaw doesn't fight champions from Muay Thai, he fought Thai legend Jomhod Kiatadisak. Although Jomhod was 36 years old, he was still fresh off of a 19-fight win streak. To start the finish of this fight, Buakaw would land a beautiful right hand left hook into low kick that rocked the legendary opponent. The right hand is a throwaway punch to load the power left hook to the body, and then the power low kick is delivered when the stance is disrupted. Jomhod gets up, but Buakaw ruthlessly hunts the body again, finishing the fight with a powerful right hook to the body as the opponent scrambles out of panic. After this fight, Buakaw would never fight a Thai ever again. He said that he wanted to spread Muay Thai to the world rather than fighting his own people. Buakaw vs Andy Souwer. After a very controversial decision against the Dutch legend, Buakaw again faced his nemesis in the 2006 K1 final. This would cement Buakaw's legendary status. In round 2, Souwer charged in to throw a hook, Buakaw ducked and then came up with his own left hook as Souwer looked away. Then when they were in a clinch break, as Souwer threw a left hook, Buakaw ducked again and went for a big right hook. This rocked Souwer, and as the opponent ducked down, Buakaw landed 3 right uppercuts in a row. To finish the fight, Buakaw framed the lead hand to blind Souwer and landed a beautiful long rear uppercut. He then framed again and timed the perfect right hand against Souwer's lead leg kick. Many people said Muay Thai fighters can't punch in kickboxing, but Buakaw proved that Muay Thai fighters also have good punching skills. In this fight, he beat one of the greatest combination punchers in kickboxing history with his punches. After the fight, he was overwhelmed with emotions, becoming the youngest champion to win the prestigious K1 World Grand Prix tournament twice. Buakaw's career was full of brutal and passionate moments. We didn't even include all of his angry and passionate fights. Some of the honourable mentions include fighting Masato, who Buakaw brutally destroyed despite the Japanese judges desperately wanting Masato to win. Then there was Takayuki Kohirimaki, who pissed off Buakaw by using illegal strikes. He was brutally beaten up in probably the most dominant clinch and knee display in kickboxing history. There was also Yoshihiro Sato, the man who knocked out Buakaw with a liver shot and then a nut shot. Buakaw would revenge nut shot him in one fight, and then knock him out with a left hook in another fight. Buakaw's career is as storied as any, and we can make many more videos about it in the future. He received and delivered so many nut shots that it could be a video by itself. So this was Buakaw's 17 legendary knockouts. What do you think of the Muay Thai legend? Please let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here's a message from Buakaw if you haven't already.
เราเล่นแค่ชินก็ดีนะที่ได้ทำสโลว์ขึ้นมาขึ้นได้